Speaking of crazy stuff on the internet, did you see Mark Goldbridge and Rashford's little beef? The United stand and Goldbridge and these.
Yeah, what an insecure footballer earning 400 grand a week, sitting on the internet crying about Goldbridge. I get life, mate. Like, honestly, like, seriously, what is his problem? Yeah, he should go back into training and ask for extra hours. You know, like when you're like, oh yeah, I'm not doing very well in maths class. Can I have an extra hour with you, Miss or Mr. So and so, whatever, so we can go through a few things? He needs to go and practice his shooting. Yeah, instead of crying about a fan channel, get in the bin. Yeah, get in the bin. And do you know what's funny is I don't even watch Goldbridge, yeah, but I went to that stream and I watched the lad Faz, I think his name was.
Faz, yeah.
What did he say that was so bad? He was giving his opinion about a player that has fallen off the cliff since last season. He said, how can a player go 40 GA last season into a player we're witnessing now? Does he even want to be here? Yeah. Was he even injured? Yeah. Why would a player be injured and then travel all the way down to London, West London, from Manchester to sit in the crowd? It's valid things to say. What's wrong with that? And then Rashford started making a storm out of it, going, oh, please stop spreading malicious rumours. What rumour, mate? It's the guy's opinion. If you're so butthurt about it, just stay off the internet. But he can't, can he? Because he wants to get everyone on his side because he's having a poor performance. There's a lot of people that don't like that particular channel. So now he's got them all on side. He's got every single one of them in the pocket now. So he can have another shitter this weekend. And it's cool. Doesn't matter because he's now gained another few 100,000 or 500,000 fans.
I agree. Like, people are going, oh, it's a clickbait title. How is a question clickbait if that's someone's opinion?
Yeah, the question mark in it.
Exactly. And this is the thing. People, generally speaking, in my view, people call titles clickbait when they don't want the subject matter to be discussed. So, for instance, let's take the transfers. Say there's a story in The Athletic that Chelsea might hijack a move for an Arsenal player, and YouTubers do a video saying Chelsea to hijack Arsenal with a question mark. You get clickbait, clickbait, clickbait. No, it isn't clickbait. It's a genuine story that we should discuss as fans. You're calling it clickbait to try and discredit the conversation because you hope it isn't true. It isn't clickbait. Clickbait would be, clickbait would be exclusive footage of Rashford
parking on the yellow line.
Or attacking Ten Hag, and then it's all a lie. That's what clickbait is for me, where your title has nothing to do with the video. If your title is Rashford's future in doubt with a question mark, and Faz is presenting his view as to why he might be. And by the way, it is not wrong for fans to sit there and say, right, we know because of ill discipline, especially the top Reds who back Ten Hag and back Rashford. So this is in their mind here. You lot will say, well, Sancho's out the team because of ill discipline. So why is it inconceivable that Rashford may have been dropped for a game because of poor discipline? When you consider his form, the party he went out for on his birthday, the fact that maybe he got questioned by the manager, and fans are allowed to ask a question.
When's a footballer been able to be into a position to tell a fan what he can and can't say? How about
No, exactly. And for me, this is the way I look at it, right? It is very much, you don't have to like Mark Goldbridge to support if you're in the fan channel community, I support it. Unless they do something wrong, and then I'll call it out. But Faz having an opinion or talking through what he's hearing from people on social media, I'm seeing a lot of fans say X, a lot of fans saying Y. Him having a discussion about that is not spreading malicious rumors. As far as I heard, at no point did he say, I spoke to my mate in the pub and he walks Rashford's dog. Turns out Rashford's been partying every night of the week. Then I can understand, say, well, that's a malicious rumor. There's no, you haven't corroborated that. It was literally an opinion piece. If, a Chelsea fan phones into the show.
Kind of his own context as to why he's got to that thought process. What's wrong with that? Since when's Rashford the owner of fan opinion? It's lucky he's even playing football at Man United. Yeah, because he's absolutely robbing a living, the guy. He's got such good PR around him. Yeah, like the guy's a clown anyway. Like, honestly, mate, some of the stuff I've seen, he's driving down the wrong way, down a road, and like all the parking on that pavement, and the guy going Rashford, how did he even get that McLaren up the curb, by the way? So, did you see that video? I didn't even get that up the curb.
It must have been a drop curve further back, and he went up it. But I agree. Look, I look at it this way. Everyone knows I like Rashford. and I want him to turn it round. And me and you have a very different opinion on Rashford. I'm someone that's always backed him. But on this particular circumstance, I think that he or him and his PR team are wrong. Fans are allowed to have opinions. Fans are allowed to ask questions. Fans can also react to, listen, if the Daily Mail writes a story that turns out not to be true, and this is the irony of it. In the summer, multiple verified journalists said that Maguire didn't go to West Ham because he refused a pay cut. Then Maguire, lots of Man United fan channels, then turned around and were angry at him because they wanted him gone so they could raise money and buy somebody in their eyes better. Then when Maguire says, actually, that never happened, the deal was never agreed between the clubs, it's the fan channels that the top Reds attack, and the same media outlets that said that it was Maguire attack the fan channels, and people like Mark Goldbridge forgetting, well, you spread hate about him. No, I reacted to your fucking story about him. It's legitimate.
And then Maguire sits in an interview, a Man United interview, I think, for a Champions League game. And I think it was a Champions League, maybe it was an England match. I don't know. But he was in a press conference this season and said, yeah, we were looking at West Ham, but we just couldn't quite get the deal done. So the story was true then. Yeah, you couldn't get the deal done because you didn't want to take the 90k pay cut. So the story was right then. But you're right what they do. Listen, TalkSport started doing watch-alongs this season, Terry.
Look,
do you know what I'm saying? They copy everything that fan channels do, and then they have a go at fan channels after they're doing.
And this is one of my biggest issues. I get more annoyed at fan channels fighting each other, and I know that I have history of this. In fact, me and Mark years ago did the same thing. You know, all of us at times have disagreements with each other. But the reason why we actually need to pull together more often, and it frustrates me when we don't, is that the whole of the mainstream media wants us gone. And there's a big percentage of football fans who don't want us around. We shouldn't be fighting one another. And that's all I see. Every time something like this happens, there's like an attack on. Do you remember when I think Xhaka did an interview about how he suffered abuse from fans, and it was like AFTV that was targeted for it. And I just thought to myself, that's just out of order. Remember when Bellerin, and I know you don't get on with the AFTV people per se. Like I know you've had issues with Robbie, but when Bellerin was basically saying that they only profit off of losses, and you get accused of that. That's nonsense, because this year, based on that logic, this year,
Bellerin in the bin real quick, mate. Zoolander.
Exactly. I just don't like that sort of thing. And you know, and
what is it with Arsenal fullback? Zinchenko's another one, isn't it? Like, what's the matter with these losers?
Yeah, no, I don't like it at all. I've never seen Goldbridge in a United shirt before 2016, but that's untrue. So he posted a picture years back. And this would have been, you could tell by the grainy nature of the photo, this would have been early 90s. And he was in a Man United kit from the early 90s. I saw that picture of him. So, again, have you been to his house and asked his mum to look at his photo album? If you haven't, and by the way, loads of YouTubers get accused of it. Rance gets accused of being a Spurs fan from when he grew up, as an example. Yeah, you do. So
I watched them last night. Now I'm a Chelsea fan. Do you know what I mean?
I remember Man United fans accusing Saeed of never being a proper Man United fan, and Aaron. They only started going to games to do fan cams, and they weren't ever fans before that interested. Of course, I've been accused of being a glory hunter. I'm from London. You're
an Arsenal fan, Tel.
Most quality YouTube, yeah, exactly. Most quality YouTubers that I've ever come across, at one stage or another, have been accused of supporting another team, and it's a deflection tactic to move away for two reasons. One, they're jealous of how successful somebody has become, or two, they're annoyed that their opinions are not being listened to by as many people as somebody else. And those are typically the two reasons why YouTubers, fan content creators get attacked. And look, I love Rashford to bits. I want him to turn his form around, but I just think he's wrong on this one. If you hate the United stand, you're going to say that he's right. But in reality, saying that what you're saying is fans are not allowed to have opinions. Same as Paul Parker said a few weeks ago, like Mark Goldbridge basically shouldn't have a platform as big as he is. He never played the game professionally, so therefore he shouldn't have an opinion. I think you've got to ignore what you think about Mark and go, well, if I apply that logic universally, that means I've got to get rid of my channel. Fuck you. Do you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's crazy. Genuinely crazy.
Rashford should concentrate on getting his performance level up, mate. That's all he's got to do. But yeah, and that just shows how he watches everything that happens. Yeah, because he's literally sat there about half hour after that video went out, posting that tweet. So he's seen that video pop up on YouTube. So he's obviously active on YouTube, isn't he? Yeah. And then he's gone to Twitter, or he's active on Twitter maybe, and seen the tweet come up. Yeah. But we know how algorithms work, Terry. Yeah. If you go and watch your own goals highlights, on Sky Sports on your phone, you've now watched a football content. Now that I pop up with the next video, and it might be United Stand, it might be your channel, it might be my channel, it might be AFTV, it could be Saeed, Rants, anyone. Yeah, so then they go, oh, let me click that one then. Now, every time they open YouTube, all of a sudden they're getting all of them pop up. Yeah, and there's some of these players are so out of touch, it's crazy. Like, honestly, just shut up and get on with football, mate. Yeah, they love all the adulation when it goes for them, but then they don't like a bit of criticism here and there. Yeah, get on with it. Yeah, we get criticised every single day. We ain't nicking 350, 400 grand a week, are we? Well, I don't know about you, Toe. I ain't.
No, not quite. I wish. Tony here says you're acting like footballers can't go on their phones, and nobody's saying that. Again, you're taking an opinion, which is he should be focusing more on his football and getting better, and taking it to the nth degree that footballers can't go on their phones. What we're stating is that he is not, in my opinion, he's either not watched or digested what the video was about. He has said something that isn't true. There was no malicious rumor within the video whatsoever. It was not a clickbait title. Asking a question is not clickbait if the content is an echo of that. And it's the question. It's a debate. And so all we're saying is that Rashford shouldn't have done what he did in this instance. Nobody has stated at any point Rashford should have his phone confiscated and shouldn't be allowed on the internet. Again, we don't need to go to those extremities. Nobody has said footballers can't have phones. So again, it's crazy. It's like people. But personally, I didn't have a problem with Rashford going out for his birthday. The only element I didn't think was right is that he had training in the Monday morning, which is around 8, 9 o'clock, and he was still out at 3:30 a.m. And what I mean by that is, I don't think that's right, generally speaking, for anyone in any profession. If you've got to be at work at 8 o'clock in the morning and you're still out at a nightclub at 3:30, then even if you're not drinking, you are not performing the next day at optimum level because you're tired. And that is and
just roll in straight away.
And that's pretty much a scientific fact. You only have 3 or 4 hours sleep after being up all day, playing a game of football or working all day, and you go out all night. You're not going to be at your best the very next day. And I think that when you're in a job that pays to the level of a footballer, I think if you're in a powerful or an important job in this world, I think all of those jobs especially should be taken very seriously what you put into it. Him actually going out with friends and that, I don't care whether footballers are allowed to go out for dinner, parties, celebrate things when they lose football matches. They absolutely are. This nonsense that they're not is crazy. But staying out till 3:34 in the morning when you're not in great form, when you should be at home resting, sleeping,
do you know what I don't
ready for the next day, that's what I disagree with.
Fair enough, they can go out, right? And I get why people are peed off with it. He just got battered by Man City and he had training the next day. But when you've got that level of money, why don't you just get a load of chefs to come to your house? Get all your mates around and have a house party. That way nobody knows, do they?
Yeah.
But he can go out, he can do what he wants. He's an adult, he can do whatever he wants, Terry, yeah? But when you're not playing well and your team have just been battered again and you have training the next day, people are going to spot you. You're out and about in a public spot. Don't just get a load of private chefs to come to your house. Yeah, get a DJ to come to your house. Yeah, and get all your mates round and just have a party at home. You go to bed whenever you want. Don't have to get a taxi back. Nobody's going to see you out. Yeah, and all the people that are there, you trust, they're your mates.
Someone here said it was a surprise party, but it wasn't a surprise party because the article that spoke about it also said that it was a pre-arranged and pre-agreed. So how can it be pre-arranged and pre-agreed, but equally be a surprise?
Well, maybe it was a surprise to him. Maybe it was pre-arranged. With
I can kind of get that, but at the same time, you've got to use your head and go, look, we got battered today. Because this is also what they were meant to have Monday off training, but they were told they had to come in after the defeat. So once you get told that, you change your approach. Look, as I say, go out and have a party. Go out and see your friends. Go and have a good time. But you've got training in the morning, so get to bed at a sensible hour. And I have that thought and feeling, I was like that when I was a young man still living with my parents. If I worked the next day, my dad see me getting ready to go out. You going out? I go, yeah, going down the pub with the boys for a bit. You got work tomorrow? Yeah. Well, don't be too late. You got to get up. And that was my dad talking to me as an 18, 19-year-old because my dad felt it was important that I got a good night's sleep. So I woke up and so I went to work and had a good day and being productive for my employer. And that was pumped into me as a kid. You don't turn up and what's the word I'm looking for? Not scrounge. We skive all day because you're a hangover, you're exhausted. It was one of them things. I'd get literally, my dad would tell me off as a grown-up if I ever got caught doing that kind of thing. So maybe it's just the way I was brought up and the way I look at things. That's why I disagree with Rashford doing it. But The idea of him going out or going on Twitter, that don't bother me. But get your facts right if you're going to do it.
And as for that comment from Twisted, big up Twisted in the chat. Clubs don't own players. It's not slavery. They actually do own the players, mate. They're contracted to the football club to turn up for set hours, club events, and everything that the club's telling them to do. They have to do. So they do technically.
I mean, look, again, let's just delve into this here, Twisted. Again, you are equating, and this is what you're doing here is both overly hyperbolic and also very disrespectful to people that still today in 2023 suffer at the hands of slavery.
On that bombshell, I'm going for a toilet break.
Yeah, nobody is sitting here, Twisted, and saying that players can't go out with friends and family or can't have their phones. What we're saying is that if you're staying out till 3 or 4 in the morning and in 2 or 3 hours time you've got to get up to go training, you're going to be exhausted and you may not be able to put in the energy and the effort that's required for you to train to your optimum level. Asking for people to be professional is not equal to slavery. Come on now, my friend. Just saying things like that is I like you, Twisted, but that is an absolute joke of a comment. A joke of a comment. I don't own KJ, but he has to come to work on time. And if it turns out he's been going out late lots and lots and he's not performing the next day because he just wants to be in bed, he's going to get in trouble. That's not me behaving like a slave master. That's me being an employer and wanting a good day's work for a good day's pay. Come on now, don't conflate those two things. That's embarrassing, bro. That is legitimately one of the most embarrassing things I've ever heard anybody say. Come on now. I know you try to be a little bit of a, controversial, but that is just so wide of the mark. It's unbelievable, bro. Unbelievable. Terry, leave Rashford alone. I love Rashford. I want Rashford to be a success. Part of the reason why I don't want him staying out too late. I want him to get a good night's sleep, good rest. I don't think my advice if I was talking to him is stay away from socials. Don't let stuff get into your head. Try and get your confidence back. So again, I'm not saying any of this to be nasty to him. I want him to do his best. And if right now you're not performing, you have to look at whatever lifestyle choices you've got and what can you change. And that's my advice to anyone in any walk of life, in any profession. If you're struggling and things are going wrong, look at the things you're doing outside of work, diet, gym, time you go to bed, the friends you hang around with. Maybe some of them have got to go. Maybe it's time to move on from some of those individuals because you being a success is important. Very important. Especially if you're in an important job. So there we go. But yeah, that's one of the craziest things I've ever heard anyone ask, Twisted Bubba. Let's have a little look at some more. So I'm waffling. So, okay, cool. That's not an answer, is it? That's not an argument saying someone's waffling. That's code for shit, Terry's right, but I don't want him to be. Come on now, my friend. That's not a breakdown. Lee, Terry is telling you that you're always late for the Terrace.
I was here before him today.
He was actually, to be fair. I was in the middle of something. There we go. I know you're only joking, my bro. I know you were. Sir Alex Ferguson won't let Rashford even leave his home to meet his girlfriend after 12 a.m. Yeah, Fergie had spies in every nightclub and bar in Manchester that report stuff into him. That man had that city on locked. Man was moving around like Tony Soprano up there, bruv. He had the whole city on lockdown.